I'm good.
Okay, y'all turn on your mics because I'm not doing all the talking. This is going to be interactive, okay?
Oh, say turn on our mics. Okay.
Yes. So, have you all read chapters 8, 9, and 10?
Yes.
Everybody's
Mhm.
okay. So, let's do it like this. Let's start with chapter 8. Anybody have any questions about anything in chapter 8? Anything that kind of stands out to them? Oh, and just in case you don't know me, I'm Arlene, class 6. Nice to meet everybody. I mean, I know all of y'all. I don't think I might have seen Shavonda, but not much. But Arlene, nobody has any questions, comments, or concerns or anything about chapter 8?
Nope, not
Do you
really.
know what we do
Go
you
ahead.
know what we need to talk about for the test, maybe?
Well, let me give you this disclaimer. Took the test 2 years ago,
Uh-huh.
so I remember very little. But for all of it, what I do know is after you learn everything, like the definitions and what's what, don't just look for the question to be, oh, well, what is a visual learner? It'll make you apply it. It'll say so and so needs to see visual cues in order to understand what they're doing. What type of learner may this person be? That type of thing. It won't just say, oh, well, what is a visual learner? Or a visual learner needs to see cues. Or it might say something like, in a dance type workout session, the the instructor will use their hands and use their body, that type of thing. Um, I do remember writing down, let me see, with page 132, there was a question about cueing elbows and bowing, and it was something in the types of effective cues on page 132, that gray area. They'll take a lot from that gray area and ask you questions about it.
Where it says know your knowledge or
Expand your
expand your
knowledge.
knowledge.
Types of effective cues, the breathing, the rhythm, anatomical, numerical. So it talks about those different cues. Basically, these 3 chapters, you guys basically really know these things because in your training for the fitness warriors, Ricky really honed in on all these things. They talked about the cueings. They talked about chapter 9 and the special populations and stuff. So you know it. It's just going to be asked in questions. So this is going to be something that when you see the questions about them, you're basically going to know them and you're going to know the answer. So it's not that this part would be something that you would have to spend as much time as you would have on the previous chapters with the body parts and the muscles and all that stuff. These are going to be a lot of the practical applications that we already do. I think somebody else was going to ask a question at the same time. Anybody? What was another question that was gonna?
No, I was going to basically ask the same question that Patricia asked. Is that I guess I guess we all kind of are in the same boat. I mean, we know we got to read the chapters. We know we're reading the information. We're getting the definitions and going through us. Or I guess everybody's doing the practice tests at the end of each chapter, which kind of gives you the same way you're saying is
Mhm.
it asks you the questions, but not in a definition type way, like what is this or what is that. It kind of gives you a scenario and then you have to apply, even though it's multiple choice, you have to apply the correct answer. So
Right.
I guess I don't know, maybe everybody else's perspective is I'm just trying to figure out ways to better study for that, because obviously we can all just read and
Right.
study our notes and things of that nature. But at one point they were saying that they had some cue cards or whatever that people had made up that they remembered the questions from. But I guess that's not an option that we're going to be able to get those copies of those. I think that somebody said they had like 400 cards. Well, having that and then us getting that information probably is not going to mesh. So I don't know. That's all my question is, how do we, get more maybe sample type questions that were on the exam so we can prepare more appropriately for that.
Okay.
And I know that's a hard question for you to answer, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
And that's where I'm at as well.
Some people, like the people who trained me back in my time, I think there was like 1 or 2 people that said they remembered some specific questions and they wrote them down. As I was working, and if you give me 1 second, as I was going through myself, I made my own cards.
Okay.
And I just basically have them color coded by chapter. They should be in my book bag. So I had them color coded by chapter. I didn't have questions, but I just put the important information that I needed to remember. So, if you can see anterior valvular posture, and then I put whatever information I felt was important on the back. What really helped me, even after doing this, was going on Quizlet. Have any of you gone on the Quizlet and done some of the Quizlets for those? I did those every day.
What, is that separate from what we normally do after we finish the chapter, or is that something?
That's something separate.
Oh, no, I don't know about that.
We don't know about Quizlet.
It's an app.
Let me type. Yeah, it's an app. I'll type it in case you don't understand my accent, but it's just basically Quizlet. I think it's .com. Matter of fact, I could probably share a screen and go on it.
Okay.
But they have, it's like, teachers use it for like their students for in school, and they have different people have made questions based on the ACE test, and I would go on that and they would have questions for the different chapters. And even though it's not as specific as the test is itself, it did help me to remember things and keep things in my head so that I would know what I was doing. So I'm gonna see if I can find it online and share the screen so you can see it.
Okay, that might be helpful in us. I mean, for me anyway, just to make my note cards, because right now I can make a bunch of note cards, but if it's not really, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't need to know everything, but I don't want to make a lot of cards just with information that's not going to be
on the exam.
Not on the exam, but just stuff that you probably kind of know, but you don't want to just keep, making a card for just basic stuff. You want to really trying to hone it to things that are going to be asked, basically.
Right, I get you, but I basically did it for everything because I wanted to make sure not everything, but the things that I knew that I needed to know. So I basically made them for every chapter of the things that I felt I needed to know. Let me get back on here, and I'm gonna share the screen. So this is actually a different thing. I'm trying to get back to the search engine so I can figure out answers. Figure out how to show you guys this. Search. All right, so ACE group fitness, search, ACE group fitness. You type in search, and then you can see there's different things: ACE group fitness flashcards, ACE group fitness terms, and depending on what you want to break it down on, you see it. This has 40, this has 222, this has 315. And what I did, they have dismiss. I don't want to see a video. They have flashcards where you can look at the definition and see the answer. So you could test yourself that way. I like to use the Learn. So it will give you a definition, and then you could see the questions. See the answers. So formed elements, which include different types of living blood cells, including white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets. Plasma, the non-living portion of blood. Plasma is about 92% water and 8% dissolved solutes. So from what I can remember, 2 components that make up blood, boom. So it gives you like the definition and some questions. Some of them you have to put in the answer yourself, which kind of helps you to think and try to remember on your own. I'm gonna go back to the search. They have other things like test and match. I didn't do much with those, but you can like look at those and explore those too. I don't know what spell would do. We don't want to do that. This is the test, so it has 5 true or false questions. I didn't really like the test for some reason, and this might be the reason why. It just seemed like too. I used that learn portion. That helped me the most.
You said the learn portion.
Mm-hmm. But
okay, and the test is really all multiple choice, or are there any true and false on the test?
I mean, it's multiple choice, so it won't have like just true or false. It's gonna be A, B, C, D.
Gotcha.
So ACE, group, fitness, chapter 8. Let's see. So here's some examples for just the chapter 8. So again, that's the flashcards. I'm going to go to the learn. So visual, verbal, kinesthetic. So choose the matching term. Which one would that be? What would that be?
3 types of learners, isn't it? Or 3 stages of learn. No, 3.
3 types of learners. Need to hear cues, be specific, be descriptive and concise, provide cues at least 4 counts early, or if not to music, a few moments before, typically with a countdown.
Verbal learners.
So also what I did when I was studying these and just looking at questions like this, even though these are too cut and dry, you know, the questions are going to be more broad than this. I thought about key words to help me. So see specific cues, body language and gestures. So when I think of body language, that's going to be it's not going to be like visual or audio. It's going to be something with the body. So see specific cues. Well, actually, this is see specific cues. Body language and gestures include pointing in directions. So that is going to be visual because you want to see. So like I said, this helped me to remember everything. I don't think anybody's going to be able to tell you, oh, here's like 50 questions that I remember from the test, because the test is 100 questions long, and you can't take anything out of there with you. If you have a good photographic memory, then great. But you're going to have to just think about what the quizzes do at the end of the chapters, as well as using these to just kind of help you to remember the different things and apply that situation to the questions. So another thing that I found to be helpful when I did my quizzes and just when I did the test also, do y'all need to see this anymore, the quiz?
No, I think I got it, Quizlet.com.
And when we did it, like Ricky had specific Quizlets that he created for the test also. I don't know if that's still available. You might want to ask. You can send him an email or something to ask him if he still has those Quizlets, and he can give you the name or the code or whatever to get to his Quizlets, because like we were sent an email with the Quizlet. All right. So when I did the test and like when I did the quizzes, I would write every number down, every number of the questions that I was doing. And if I knew the answer, I just immediately just put a check and I knew not to go back to it. If I had some kind of problems with it, I would circle it so I knew I needed to go back to check it out. And if there was something I just really didn't know, I knew I left a blank there and I really, 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 really needed to go back. So if you can like see the top of my notebook, this is like some other visual cues for myself that I use, but I can see how what I needed to go back to. And when I checked it, I looked at the things I got right and the things I got wrong. Another thing I did too, when I did the practice test, I looked at all the domains, and you know how each domain has a specific percentage of how many questions it's going to have and how it'll affect your grade. So every time I looked to see, you know, my percentage of each one and tried to make sure I kept it at a good level I felt for myself and made sure I increased each time.
Is that during the practice test?
During the practice test. You know, I couldn't do it during the real test itself. The writing down of the numbers and checking what I needed to do. Of course I could do that on a piece of paper. And I also, things that I knew that I needed to write down when I began, I wrote them down. So I knew that I needed to remember the heart rate things. So I wrote that down first. I used what I used to teach my kids how to do on the SOL. Write down the things that you know, the things that you know you'll need to remember, the things that'll help you to remember answering the questions, and then look at each number and see how good you feel about each one, and think about the percentage or the amount that you feel that you can get wrong in order to pass. And if you look at that and say, okay, well, I see that I know I got 20 wrong, maybe, but you know, I know I'll pass this way. If I look at it and say, oh, I know I got 15 wrong. Oh, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna pass this thing. So it's like playing a mental game with yourself, kind of, but also looking at the numbers and looking at the percentages of what you're gonna do.
I was looking at the going back, because after this next section, we take the practice test.
Okay.
And then we have a meeting after the practice test. So is the practice test going to be on ACE? Like when we get to the last thing, we can take we take the practice test, I think June 18th, something like that.
Yes. It's
so
on
when we
ACE.
do the practice, when we take the practice test, it looks like we can take the practice test as much as we need after, or you only can take the practice test once.
I can't remember. I mean, I believe I only took it once. I think you can only take it once because it's like a add-on to the program. The quizzes you can take more than once, right? Yeah, I think the practice test you can only take it one time, and you'll get the rundown like you get with the regular test on how you did in each domain and the questions itself that you got wrong. And with that, you can actually look back at the questions and see the questions, I believe.
Oh, you can look at the questions. Go back.
I think so. Don't quote me. Yes, because I took it at home. I took it during COVID, so I think I remember
practice test.
The practice test. I think I remember I could go back and look at the questions. I want to say that my information that I have here. No, it may not. That was a no. Yeah, this was my practice test.
Very interesting.
Because I wrote down the numbers I got wrong. I got number 9 wrong, and it said something about participant adherence, past participation in class, and it told me what page I can go back and look at in the book. And the only reason why I say I think it was the practice test because it went up to question 60. Quizzes don't have that
There's
much
only
questions,
15,
right?
it's only about 15 questions
Yeah.
per quiz. So that was my other question before too. And I think one of the other people we were going over said that I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll just go back and, go through the quizzes again, just to kind of get myself familiar. But they're saying that the quiz is okay, but it's not the same type of questions on the exam.
Yeah.
So even though the quiz is kind of, I guess, want to help you with knowledge, but it still doesn't give you the same format
Right.
that the exam is going to be. Okay.
Right.
But it
But
did
if you
ask,
have, go ahead.
I was getting ready to say on some of those quizzes, it gives you, it asks you if this happens,
Right.
what type of learner or what type of person, like extrinsic, internal, like if I can, if a participant can fix their self, I guess that was in 10, where I was like, oh my gosh, what is this?
And see what I was about to say. If you have the knowledge of everything, you'll be able to pick out what you need to get the answer to it. You know what I'm saying? So that thing where you said where they took the internal to apply whatever, that's your definition. That's your definition, and you apply that to get your answer to the question. So your answers are going to be those words. That definition is just going to be within that situation.
Yeah, so sometimes, like, I guess going back to the very beginning where we went through the muscles and bones and how to cue for those muscles, like the
And
7,
that's another
12, and whatever. I have to go back because I don't know.
And I'm glad you said that too. They will intertwine more than one thing. So like cueing for the specific muscle. So the cueing was in these chapters, but the muscles were in the previous chapters. So it's put together to answer the question. So some of the things might be blended together.
So let's see. I know what kinesthetic learners are. I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to study correctly. Because it's a lot in this book, especially these last chapters.
I just went back and looked.
I can't tell you.
Oh,
okay.
And I can still see my practice
about.
So I guess you can keep taking them.
You can keep taking them. You said you can keep taking the practice test?
I just logged into my account and it let me like relaunch it. So I guess you can take the practice test as many times as you want to.
Okay.
Now I don't know if you'll get different questions each time. That part I don't know.
Okay.
I think the questions are the same.
Huh?
I think the questions are the same if you take it again.
Okay. All right.
And you said 60.
They make you buy it to get a separate test. You have to purchase it.
It was 60 questions on my practice test. I don't know if it's different with y'all's though.
Okay, so that was my practice test that I'm looking at my notes on because it had 60. For some reason, I had 2 tests. I don't know how I had 2 tests, but
no, we had 2 practice tests.
Okay.
In our built into the program, but
okay.
Like I went back and opened up, like the test, and it let me try to retake it again, but I hurry up and got out of that because I'm not doing that.
So that's good to know. So once you take it, you can go back and try it again, and that would be better to do than the quizzes over and over again. Because the practice test is more like the questions.
Gotcha. Okay, that's really where I'm asking, because sometimes you want to just practice or do things. I mean, I can continue reading, going on my cars, but then it's better to try to do the practice quiz, test over than going back over the chapter quizzes, I should say.
Right, right.
Okay.
All right.
So since we are in chapter 8 still, can you go over the 3-dimensional cueing? I guess I'm looking at it. It's like in the gray area. I don't know if you got 132, page 132.
You said the 3-dimensional cueing?
3-dimensional cueing.
Yep. And that's the page I was talking about in the beginning where I said that was a question I had gotten wrong on the practice test. And it said something about cueing elbows. So like I said, I wrote down the information, and this is what I wrote down for myself. It said cueing elbows, bowing or bowing, and I put in parentheses, term confused me, I thought fatigue. And then I wrote it said you have to keep arms parallel to each other through the entire motion. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Is that like it says spatial cues that reference areas of the body and equipment set up around the body and orientation. It's like the next to the last one.
I see that.
Or it may be the alignment cues that you said the elbows have to be in alignment.
Keeping the elbows, keeping arms parallel to each other through the entire motion.
Was that like a push-up?
I don't know. That's all I wrote down. Cueing the elbows and bowing.
And
I think that had to be a safety cue, probably. Keep arm parallel to the entire motion.
Very interesting.
But the point is, this section was in that practice test, and I had to know these effective cues. So that's something that was like the practice test, but still. So basically, it didn't say what is a safety cue. It said something about cueing those elbows.
When I think about elbows, I think about push-ups or bird dog. Well, not elbows, but your elbow and your shoulder are in alignment.
Well, what I wrote down said keeping arms parallel to each other through the entire motion. Sound like it could be push-up. And I remember when in our training, Jackie talked about how like different things that they asked, she would do the motion that it was asking you. Like if it said something about some type of exercise, she would actually do it while she was taking the test to help her to remember what it was. So if you needed to do that, then don't be scared to do that. And I took that too. Even though you might have 2-3 people in the same room, you're allowed to move and you're allowed to practice whatever movement or whatever it's asking you about.
And you said
so
did you go in a testing facility to take your test? I guess we'll probably do that this go round too.
I don't know. When you go on the website, it gives you 2 options. It says if you want to choose a location or virtual. Now, I don't know whether we're going to have that option. I'm just saying when you log into your account, when I'm going in, and if you say, because I keep getting emails saying, it's time for you to schedule for your exam. It's time for you to, even though I haven't done that because I know we're supposed to all wait to do it at the same time. But, when you just click on it just to look in the information, it says you can choose virtual or in person. So I don't know whether that's going to be an option for us. I guess that's something we'll have to find out later down the road. But
yeah. Well, like I said, I did it in the height of COVID. I was scared as I don't know what, but I had my mask, I had my Lysol, I had my
you was in 2020?
But it was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. So it was okay. And there were 3 people in my room, and one person, their computer didn't work, and they had to keep looking at their computer, coming in and going out, and then they finally decided to put them in another computer. So that was with COVID having 3 people in the room, but it was a big enough room.
My group had the option to do virtual or at home.
And when
Some
did
of
you
us
do
did-
yours?
At home.
You did yours at
2020?
home?
Mm-hmm.
You did yours in 2020?
I did last year, right? I think it was last year.
2021.
2021.
Yeah, 2021. I did mine at home. I think Mimi did hers at the testing center. But the testing center is far. I'm in Ettrick. The testing center is like on the far end of Richmond, and I didn't have that to do. I wasn't trying to get up, drive up there. Mm-mm.
I
So
had nothing better to do, so I went.
Oh yeah, no. Well, and y'all forget all my kids grown and old too. So, but I don't think we all had to take it on the same day. I don't know who. I can't remember who said that. We just all had to register by a certain day.
Well,
Oh,
my
okay.
question is, what exactly did you have to do when you did it at home? Because I've taken a virtual test before, and like you had to kind of be in a room with nothing, literally like none on the walls, like
So
none of that.
hold on. It'll probably be easier if I just show y'all. Hold on. So I have a sewing room. Oh, I don't know how to turn. Can you see?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So they didn't care about this being on the wall. The what is that
Thread.
called? The thread.
Mhm.
That wasn't on the wall at first. The map wasn't on the wall. So I sat at this desk. Of course, it was clear, so ignore all that stuff. And I had to pick up the computer. You probably did it when you took your virtual test, Toya.
Mhm.
One of these things and like show her everything. And then they like you got to show your ID to show that it's you. And so then she tells you like you're clear to go. And it literally feels like you're just in a room by yourself. But I think they're still, you have to give them the permission to like monitor your computer so you're not opening up other tabs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just go through the test and you submit it.
So okay, because I'm telling you, like I ended up taking it at a closet in my room in school because I could like get the paper and just cover everything up because I was told that you can't have nothing on the walls or nothing.
It was the mother.
Toya, what did you take? Did you you took the what type
I took a life insurance exam.
life insurance exam?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have I didn't have the map on the wall when I took the test, but I have that thread up there, and I don't think she said anything about the thread.
Yeah, but don't you got like other pictures on the wall?
Oh, their pictures are like sip and paint pictures.
You didn't have to take those down?
That's what I'm asking.
She didn't ask me to. She was more concerned about like, did I have, and it might like, and see, that's the thing. It might have just been like the lady that I had. Cause she was just more concerned about what was on the desk, what was on the floor. Did I have
They do ask to look under the desk and all
I
that.
have a picture of the body parts, you know what I mean, on the wall. And then once you start taking the test too, you can't get up. So it's not like I could have got up from, my computer. And I think that's the difference. Because I think when you're in the testing center, if you have to use the restroom, you can get up. So if you're a person that normally has to use the restroom when you take, I know that sounds crazy. When you're taking tests, I wouldn't take it at home because you cannot get up if you're at home. But if you go to the test center and you need to use the restroom, it's like this might not make any sense. It's like taking an SOL test.
So like I was saying with Jackie saying that she would like move and do like push-ups or whatever while she's taking the test. If you did that at home, they would have been like, stop it.
So I was moving my arms, but I didn't get up. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, that's just not my testing style. I'm not doing all that.
Right.
So if that works for people, like awesome sauce, but I'm kind of like either I know it or I don't. I might do that, but I'm not getting up and getting on the floor and them floors dirty. Okay, that's a conversation for another day. So if that is your testing style though, and I think probably that's because Arlene, you know, Toya, you know, Irma, you know, in a school, when they taking SOL tests, ain't no getting up out the chair to move around and do nothing.
You ain't
Better not
doing
even
that.
ask to get that pencil. You better
Right.
sit down.
So
But you're saying the test is 2 hours, correct?
if you get up to 2 hours.
You get up to 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. So if you use the bathroom before the test, you shouldn't have to go.
I mean, I don't know what nobody bladder situation is like. I'm just saying.
Get
if
it
you
depends.
know that
Hello.
you know,
You
you
did
get
it.
up a lot, or if you know, after an hour of sitting, you need to move around, I will go to the testing site. Or if you know that if you at home, somebody gonna bust up in there and be like, hey, did you fry the chicken yet? Or whatever the case may be.
Or the kids, mommy, where's my mommy?
Right.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
You don't have no milk.
Right. So I mean, just I guess take into account all of those.
I think I'm going to the testing site if that's available for me.
Yeah.
One more question for you, Alicia. When you took the test at home, you couldn't have your phone in the room, could you?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
They treat it like a testing site. You're just at your house. That's the only difference. I just did. It's a really lazy reason, y'all. I did not want to get up at 6 or 5 to drink coffee and get dressed and take a shower and drive up there, because I think it's the same place where you got to take like your praxis test, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I was being
They
lazy.
do all those tests over there.
Yeah, I was being lazy, and you know, my baby's 19, the oldest is about to be 22, so they were all at work. The husband drives trucks, he was gone to work, so I was like, it's gonna be empty in here. So I took the test at the house. I was being absolutely lazy.
Where is the testing site?
If it's the same one, I think it is. Is it the one that's like off of Nichols Road where you take like SAT, praxis? Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it's like it's in some warehouse type, not warehouse, but it's like a not
I
industrial.
think it was also
weird type of place.
Gaskins. It was near
Off of Gaskins.
Off of Gaskins.
But if y'all
near that Starbucks over there, but on the other side.
Right, but see, I'm down here by Virginia State.
Okay, I'm down here near Chester, so I might not want to be driving.
I'm down here too.
I'm like 45,
Right.
and I wasn't doing all that.
It's just okay. All right, that just helps to make a decision.
I'm in Chesterfield, but I can drive, so I'll be good. Oh, somebody said off Cox Road.
I don't remember the
I
road.
feel like it was off of Malin.
There's two of them though. There's two of them, but like, oh, look at here. I have the paper. Malin Court, South Anna Inc.
That's the one I went
3603 Malin Court. Off of Gaskins Road. Directions from South I-95 north to I-64 west to Gaskins Road. Okay.
Yeah, that's a whole hour for you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's too much. I never doing that.
Aw, it's my admission ticket.
And the only other thing I thought about, Toya, if you wanted to do it at home, you could probably book one of those rooms at the Petersburg Library. You know how they have those study rooms or whatever? Because it probably is not anything on those walls. If you're thinking that you're gonna have to take everything down in the house, because that's gonna be
at the library. That would be a good place to do it.
time consuming.
The one here got glass. The Petersburg Library got glass walls.
We don't have glass walls, but I mean, you can reserve that.
Yeah.
And it's quiet.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Driving all the way up there.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know. We'll see. When it's time, I'll see.
For myself, I liked it, so I didn't have to worry about where I was going to be. So I'll go and drive up there and do what I need to do and drive on back.
I think the last one, I think 2021. I think everyone passed last.
We did.
Okay, honey.
And we
And you guys are all gonna pass, so I don't know what y'all talking about.
Yes, we are. We're gonna speak that thing into
Are.
existence.
That's right, you
Just
are.
speak it into
You
existence.
are.
No question.
Because like I said before, we've been trained for this. When we started with Fitness Warriors, they had this in mind. And if you decided to take them up on this, then you have that foundation and you got this. And somebody was saying they wanted to know how you should study. I can't tell you how to study. You know how you are and how you study. However you study, you apply that to this program and you study what's best for you. If you know that listening to, like, just the same thing with the way people learn. You take how you learn and you apply it, and you got this. You
Mhm.
got this. You got this.
Mhm. Yeah, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Lord have
We
mercy.
are. We are. Remember, we
You
just said
are.
that.
Are.
I guess as long as you can stay up to date, and
That's
not get far behind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah, that's the key, huh? Keep
Mhm.
staying up.
Yep. Keep
Well,
it
I think
going.
that, I mean, I'm not saying that's easy, but that seems to be okay because, you can do the stuff weekly. I guess my thing is what I haven't done yet is I haven't made my study cards because I just keep going through the materials in the books and I'm highlighting and stuff like that, but I haven't actually made my actual study cards yet. So I think now that's what I'm trying to concentrate on. Once I get through everything, then I want to go back and figure out, how I want to position it, I guess, and put it on. Because some things, if I really know and I know it really good, I might not need to make a card for that. And I think that's, Arlene, what you're kind of saying. I might not need to make a card for that because I really already know that. So no sense in me just wasting my time going through a card of stuff that I already know.
Right. And something else I did too, and this is not for the chapters that I'm supposed to be talking about, but like for the chapters with the different movements and the body things that I needed to remember, I made copies of those pages and I cut the pictures up and put them on a card so that I could have it on a card itself and the things I needed to remember about those too. So that can help too. I know you don't want to cut up your book and stuff, so that's why I made copies of them if you have an opportunity to do that. So to get
That's a
that
good
visual
idea.
part.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, when I do the next chapter, maybe go back to a previous chapter. Because this is the last chapter, I believe. Right?
Your next section.
No,
The
the
next
next
section is
section,
It's the
next
next three
Three more
chapters.
three
chapters, right?
chapters,
3 more chapters.
3 more.
Yep. 3 more. Part 4 is the last part. Mhm.
And again, part 4, participant safety, nutrition, and legal guidelines. I would think making participant safety, that should be a easy
The
enough
easy
one
one.
because that's something we do anyway. You might have to put
Mhm.
more emphasis maybe on the nutrition and knowing the different legal guidelines and stuff.
I guess I really didn't have too many questions this go round.
Because I like this is we do this. We do chapters 8, 9, and 10. We provide feedback.
Mhm.
Looking at the performance and the cueing. I mean, how many times have we been taught to cue visually and make sure that that they're have the arms the way they need to be. We know that.
Mhm.
I would say also in chapter, what is this? Chapter 10, that matching, mending, and patching.
Oh yeah, that I
Know
think
the
I
differences
understood
between
that.
those.
I understood that. Oh, but
Okay.
what else?
Just make sure you know the
No,
differences.
I would like you to go into more detail about those because those was confusing to me. I thought I understood it, but I didn't get it right on the quiz.
That
Okay.
part I
Patching
got
and
right. I got it because of the video. when it was talking about
80.
matching is one, I think they said like if you do a squat and lift up, that's matching one after the other. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then mending, it's blending two movements together.
So
So
when you do
when you
the
squat and
squat,
overhead press together
same
At the
Squat
same,
and-
at the same time.
at the same time.
time.
So matching is like one and then the other. Mending is together. So again, I think about
I
things
got
and how I could apply
matching
that. So
to me sound
mending,
like-
huh? What'd
I
you say?
said matching to me for some reason. I've made it sounds like it's together, matching, same time. That's what.
But if you think
That's why
about
I
mending,
think I messed up on that.
think about mending like a sock and you want to put it back together. So when you're mending, you're putting it together.
And matching is one after the other.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another one where you
Patching.
like you're squatting or you're doing one
You add something
thing
in the middle.
and then you do another, you mend it like you're, I don't even know how you say it, but
Give an example of that one.
but you're doing one exercise and then you do another exercise to go to the other side.
So the example is said in the book. It says you do burpees, a push-up, knees tuck into stand and jump. The knee tucks are in the patch compound, or in mat Pilates, to transition from the 100 to the roll-up. The participant pulls his or her knees into the chest to patch the two exercises together. So it's putting something in the middle of the two exercises.
So
See, they said
like if we're in
transitioning.
downward dog.
Better.
And would that be like if we're in downward dog and they tell you to lower down into the plank position to get
That's
the
what I was
cobra
thinking.
and then push back up the cobra? So the plank would be the patch?
The plank
Three
would
in
be the
one?
patch, whatever's in the middle. So I would think of
Okay,
the patching
okay.
of a three-part thing
Down
rather than a two-part thing.
Okay, okay, that makes
Well, I
sense.
guess then if you think about it as matching is one thing, mending is two, and then patching is three. If you kind of think of it like that, maybe it'll help out.
It sure will.
Yeah, but matching is more of a two thing than the mending is. The mending would
Okay.
actually be the one thing because it's together.
Right, but when you look at the definition of it though, it's kind of says one exercise ends, another one starts. Mending,
Okay.
stringing two exercise movements together. You just have to know mentally, like if two is actually two exercise at once, instead of saying like, okay, I'm doing two movements, one behind the other. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Irma, did you want to say something? I thought I saw you.
No,
Okay.
Tazashi said exactly what I was thinking, because I was thinking the same thing with the downward dog, the plank. I was thinking exactly that. That's what I was thinking for Patrick.
Okay.
There's something that I do in my class. Sometimes I squat and we leave our hands up and we go back. You know what I'm saying? Up and back. And so that is like a mending.
Indeed.
And they're doing it together at the same time.
Uh-huh. So that's how I think about, oh, I do that.
Yep.
But I don't, what is the last one? Matching,
Patching.
mending,
Patching.
patching. I
Three
don't
of 'em.
patch. But that,
Well-
I mean,
That was
could be-
another piece of advice too, was to apply it to your classes. So now that you know what the patching is, your next class, do something with patching. Do that downward dog to the plank, to the what y'all
I
ended
got
with, the
too
cobra.
many old people in my class. They won't get on the ground.
They can do it on the chair.
We do it on the chair, and then
Mhm.
when we're inside, we can do it on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Always get you guys. They can do it. They just in the beginning may complain about it, but they'll do it.
And you could even say it out loud that you're patching, even though they won't have no idea what you're talking about, but you're helping yourself to remember that this is patching. We about to patch this move, y'all. We about to do this, and that. We about to mend this up.
There was something else I was trying to, which was on chapter 8. Noah Connect performance standard. Maybe not. Oh. The teaching multi-level classes on 140. Direction, rhythm, range of motion, resistant. It's DRILS.
Drills.
Drills. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how to remember that. I think I got it right on the exam, but it's like, am I going to remember this? Drills. And I think it had an example of an exercise. So which would it be? Would it be direction?
Okay, so out of drill, you know what direction is? Rhythm, range of motion, resistance, repetition.
Mm-hmm.
I, intensity, and impact. You know that, right?
I guess so.
Why do you guess? What are you unsure of?
I don't know if I'm going to remember drills. I guess I got to remember the direction, rhythm, range of motion, intensity. And then if they give me the example, I will know which one it is.
Right, because it'll say, okay, if they're telling you to grapevine to the left, then grapevine to the right. Which part of drills is this?
That's the rhythm, isn't it?
Direction.
Oh,
Left and right.
okay.
If we saying we're gonna do 25 burpees in 3 sets, what part of drills is that?
Repetition.
Repetition.
See,
Remember?
I told you.
At least I'm trying.
Well, I guess rhythm because that's the
It's still the hard part.
yeah. Repetition is just included in that.
Huh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember much about this part either. I know when I highlighted in my book, it talked about be able to create the progressions and regressions based on this.
Yeah, it does. Among the way, yeah. Okay, yeah.
And
with the acronym of drills.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the quiz it had something about lever length in the quiz, if I can remember correctly.
You said lever length.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the quiz there was some kind of question that's talked about that. But that was back in 8, so that's a little while ago, so I have to remember. But I thought I remember lever length for something. I was like, wow, wait a minute.
Because that goes with the progressions and the regressions. So your lever
Mhm.
length, it'll make it easier or harder depending on it. So I focus, and this is another thing too. Anytime where it says the GFI can do or the GFI can say, hone in on that because that's where they're going to take their examples from. So at the drills, it says, for example, if a participant needs a regression when performing a single leg squat with hands on hips, the GFI can cue to place the feet on the ground, hip width apart for greater stability through a broader base of support, thereby reducing the intensity of the movement. So that's where they're going to get that question from. You know, if the GFI did this, is what part of drills, or is this drill something like that? So they'll use that scenario. So anywhere you have the scenarios in the book, hone in on that and read through those and think about those. And you can basically create questions yourself to kind of remember the things too.
All right. So that's when I was like, when I was doing the drills, I was like, oh my goodness. Even though I got it right on the practice, the test at the end, I was like, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so the drills will basically be based on progressions and regressions because they keep repeating progressions and regressions on the same page talking about drills. So the drills are focusing on those progressions and regressions to keep the participants safe.
Okay. Regressions of the movement. Okay. I think that was my only question, maybe.
Maybe.
I'm done. Maybe somebody else has a question. I
My
think
only
chapter
other-
9 was the easiest for me.
Mhm. But I was gonna ask in chapter 9, I know they have a lot of, well, they have a chart, and I think before we were told that to concentrate on charts. Now, there is a chart on all the medications, but I don't know whether that's gonna be something that really you're gonna have to,
Are you talking about chart
I
9?
was just gonna say something about that too.
okay, because
I'm gonna be completely honest on my own for myself with this. That chart stressed the heck out of me. When I looked at that chart, I said, "What? No, all those arrows back and forth and up and down." And I said to myself, "I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about this chart." You see, there's no highlighting or anything on this. I've highlighted
Mhm.
on every page something. I did not highlight a thing on this. I did not make a card about this. I personally chalked that
But
up
they,
and
like
said,
they said, like here, they said caffeine. I'm just looking at caffeine.
"Uh-huh.
Your resting heart rate goes up with caffeine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm." Or it could be no
Exercise,
significant change.
no significant change.
So
Oh
I
yeah,
took what I could remember. Like I took things that applied to me. Like, okay, I drink coffee. All right, that's
that's
gonna affect
me.
my heart rate. I take cold medicine sometimes. Oh, okay, so that's why I felt like that when I did that. I don't take diuretics, beta blockers, but I had to think about that for other people. But I knew I wasn't going to remember all of this. I knew I wasn't going to remember all of that.
Mhm.
Did it have a
Mhm.
question on the test about it? I don't know. And if I did, it was one of
Like
those
you said,
questions that I put.
that'll be your percentage where you say, okay, you know what? I get that one wrong.
And that's when I
No
said,
worries.
I can't stress about that when I have all this other stuff to stress about.
Gotcha. Mhm.
And that's
Alright.
just me. So
Mhm.
don't take that to stone. That's just what I had to do for myself. But yeah,
And I think about like the osteoarthritis. You think about what osteoarthritis, like people who have it.
those considerations for all those things,
So those
hone
are
in on
things I
those.
kind of.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well,
So it's not.
those are like our participants now, because if you have participants, especially I've got a lot of older ones, I'm sure you do, they always
And I
complain
do
about those
too.
things.
Yeah.
So I gotta know that because I
Mhm.
need to advise them, or they're like, oh, this is hurting today, or I don't want to do this, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So
And
that's
then
kind
there's
of what
some people who have like high blood pressure or hypertension. So
Yeah.
those things you know about.
Right.
Mhm.
And like we don't need to know, oh, what is asthma? We know what asthma is, and we just need to know how we're going to tell our participants how to deal with that asthma, or if there's an asthma attack, or if somebody has an insulin resistance attack. So you got to know what to do and how to lead them through their exercises so that they don't have it. So those are
But
things
yeah,
to.
most of my participants are older.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of that,
65 and up,
also
except a couple maybe are younger.
hone in on the breathing techniques on page 148, the pursed lip breathing and the
Oh
diaphragmatic
yeah,
breathing.
yeah.
I think I do remember there being a question, and I remember like breathing during the test.
Breathing techniques.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Pursed lip and diaphragmatic. Diaphragmatic. So pursed lips, of course, is through your lips and thinking about your lips, and the diaphragmatic is through the diaphragm, but it tells you how to do it.
Mhm. Okay.
Have y'all been answering your think it through questions too?
Yes.
That helped me a little bit too, to think about the scenarios and how to apply what was going on in the sections.
So sometimes, like when I'm thinking it through and I'm typing it in, I may not get all of it. But when I go back and look at it, I'm like, okay, I got this one right and that one right, but I didn't think about the other. When you look at what you've typed in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes when I get something wrong, I'll go in and look what page it's on so I can go back and read it.
Right, right.
But it's sometimes, when you're reading and then you go take the test, you get a high score, but I'm not sure if I remember it on the exam like that.
Well, that means, you keep looking back at and make sure you remember it. So, but I mean, if, like I said, if you know, you don't really need to spend so much time on it.
Insulin.
Arlene,
Yes.
they're kicking me out of the school, so I got to go.
Okay, Irma.
Irma, get out of the school, girl. Go home.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I don't know. Did we? What
I was,
time?
I was looking at something. Hold on.
Is that on chapter 9 or 10?
What?
Which one are you looking at? Still in chapter 9?
Oh, I was looking through some notes because I remember seeing something about some notes that I had written, but I can't find it. I have so much stuff in my notebooks. Ah, the with the heart. Yeah, that's chapter 9 with the different heart diseases and stuff, the heart
Mm-hmm.
conditions. Know those terms and the differences with those. I remember Ricky specifically talking a lot about that. So if Ricky speaks on it, Ricky is the know all. And the
I'm
blood
surprised.
pressure, know your ranges for the blood pressure, because that'll be an application question too. I remember that for sure. Yep. Okay. Anybody else have anything? So we all good?
I
I hope
think
I helped
so.
a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you need anything, I'm here. Find me, mostly all of my Facebook friends. You could email me, Arlene G. Carey at yahoo.com. If you want to borrow my cards, if you don't want to make your own and you want to borrow mine, I don't mind. They're not question and answer. They're just definition and words. And like I said, I have the pictures and stuff, but you're free to use them. So
But thank you for the Quizlet. made them,
Yes,
that might help
that was,
some.
yeah, I was gonna say, that would be a great asset.
Okay, good.
Yep, so, yep, just have to work them all.
And you could do Quizlet on your cell phone because that's what I used to do. I didn't get on my computer. I'd be right on my phone in the bed and I'd be answering questions. So
Mhm. That'll help.
So you knew how much you had to pass before, like your percentages, like when
I
you took your test.
I
You knew-
estimated. I didn't, you know how the domains make it, break down. I didn't think about the breakdown of domains. I just thought about regular 100%, 100 questions. This is how many I want to have correct to
So
feel
what's the score
comfortable.
again that you have to pass?
Is it still 500? It was 500 for me. Right? It was 500 2 years ago, so I don't know if it's still. It was
What in the
500.
world is a 500?
Hey,
Right.
Well, you said that the actual final test has 100 questions, right?
mm-hmm.
So each question is worth 5 points?
It depends on the question. It depends on the domain that it's in.
Got you. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Did y'all look in the back where it talked about the domains and the percentages of the domains?
In the back.
In your book.
Starting on page 258.
Yeah, I see. So that's 34% of it. Okay, I see domain. All
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, because mine is a little bit older, but the group leadership and instruction is 49%. That's the most. Domain 3, professional conduct, safety, and risk management. That was another. So.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. So it's like Alicia points out to the SOL. The SOL test is not just a cut and dry 50 questions and it's divided by that. It's like, well, question number 1 may be worth this many points, where question number 2 may only be worth this many points. So it just depends on the question and which domain it was in. So you can see the breakdown of the type of questions that are in each domain and which ones are worth more than the rest.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm glad to have
Maybe
been here
we
today.
can get together and study. Look, as a group or something, we can get together and study.
That'll
And
be
that way
fine.
we can.
Yeah, help each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be good.
Yep. We can certainly do that.
Yeah, it is 500.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It is 500.
Mm-hmm.
To pass.
To pass.
Passing score.
Yep.
But like I tell my kids with that SOL, a 400 is passing, and so is a 600. So a pass is a pass.
A pass is a pass.
If you get 500.2,
That's
a pass.
Still get your
It's a
certificate.
pass. Yep.
Because I was trying to look at mine. I think mine was oops, hold on. Oh, I can't minimize. Yeah, a 538.
And that's a pass.
That's
Yeah,
a pass.
it's a pass.
That's a pass.
But they do break down what you
Your domains.
yeah, which is funny because I got 82 in professional conduct and risk management. That is hilarious to me. But so yeah, they break down, what you get. But I honestly forgot that they did that. I didn't even care. When I clicked on the thing and it was like pass, I was like, boop, all right, log off.
Right.
Your thing said pass?
Mhm.
Yours said pass. Mine just had the score and I couldn't remember what the passing score was. So I panicked for a while. I was like, I don't know what the passing score is.
Mine had, but I was at home, remember?
Yeah.
I was at home. I had to do a survey and then you click the button and I think it had the score and it said pass, but it was somewhere random on the page. I was like, I told the lady on the camera, I was like, ma'am, what does that mean? And I was like, oh, I passed.
She stayed on the whole time with you?
Yeah, because she laughed at me once she figured out that I couldn't tell if I had passed or not.
They stay on, but you can't see them.
Wow. So you can't pick your nose or nothing.
No, because somebody watching.
And so you went to the site to do yours, correct?
Yes.
And you said there was 3 people in there with you.
Mm-hmm. I was in like one of the bigger rooms, I guess. They have different rooms. And they got
Mhm.
lockers for you to put your cell phone and whatever else in there because you can't bring nothing in the room.
So nothing
Your
has really
purse and
changed.
your cell phone and
I've been
all that
both.
stuff.
And at first they said not even a jacket, but they let me take the jacket in because it was cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
You on the phone?
I'm on Zoom.
You seen all the throw up you had?
Huh?
You see all the mess you made?
Look, that's my son coming in the house. You see why I can't take it at home, right?
Mhm. I don't know if y'all knew when mine came through. I kind of looked up and looked at them like, "Why are you here?" And then they walked away.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you
I
again.
don't know
I
what
Thank you very
time.
much.
better.
I don't know what time we're supposed to. It's like almost 7 now.
That's 7.
I
It
think
was
we're
7.
good. 10 minutes
Okay.
to 7. I think we'll be okay, right?
Yes, I think we will. Executive decision. Let's just make it.
Enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. And you
Yep,
guys are
you
going to do
everybody
great. I
stay
have faith in
safe.
you all.
All right.
All right.
Thanks. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
all right. Thank
Bye.
All right,
you.
y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I guess stop recording.